I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's popping, guys? Hope you guys are doing blessed, doing well, having a good day, having a good week. UFC London, baby, let's go. Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura. The London card's always good, always fire. Now guys, we take a look at my bets from last week. It was looking really good. Going into my final two bets, it was looking really good. But unfortunately for me, the bookie did get a nice break. Ended up losing like 0.2 of a unit, so essentially broke even on the wrong side. Estela Nunes at plus 240. That was one of my bets that did lose, and very unfortunate, super unfortunate. JDM not finding a TKO did ruin one of my parlays, and Holly Holm shown to be old as dirt in the main event. I did get a couple wins though on Nazim Sadikov and Melsik Bagdasaryan. As always guys, if you see your name on the screen, I'd like to say amen. The MoneyCity gang, let's go. And as always, if you want your MoneyCity comment to feature, make sure you hashtag your comment. Massive shout out to Josh, massive shout out to Chef, both the brothers. Let's do it again, let's go. Alright guys, first matchup on this card, we've got Jafel Filho taking on Danny Barez. So Jafel Filho is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player. He's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, the ground game is super good. And he was super close to submitting Muhammad Mokaev in his last matchup with a nasty knee bar. But Mokaev refuses to tap, goes on to win that matchup. Now the opponent, Danny Barez, had a really good scrap with Carlos Hernandez on the contender. He does end up losing a close split decision, but if you look at Danny Barez since the Contender Series fight, he's gone on to win 4 fights, and all 4 of those fights are round 1 stoppages. So guys, it's pretty fair to say that Danny Barez has continued to work after not getting a contract on the contender, and he's now got a massive opportunity to showcase his skill on the highest stage of mixed martial arts. Now guys, if this matchup takes place on the feet, I think Danny Barez has got a nice speed advantage, and he's also got better footwork, and I also believe he's got much better boxing combinations. You know, his boxing is sharp, it's quick. However guys, if Filho can take the back of Danny Barez or even look for a knee bar, a triangle choke, an arm bar, if Filho can just make Danny Barez play the grappling game, then he's got a good chance of winning. For me personally guys, I will be siding with the slight underdog, Danny Barez. I think he's too quick. His boxing combinations are really powerful, his footwork is good, and he's also got some heavy calf kicks. So if Filho wants to play the kicking game, Danny Barez can return those kicks. I just think if Danny Barez keeps this fight standing, his striking's good, he's quick, his boxing's good. So I'm going to side with the slight underdog, Danny Barez, to win this matchup. Alright, moving into a matchup between Bruna Brasil taking on Shauna Bannon. Now this is going to be striker versus striker, Muay Thai versus Taekwondo. Now guys, Bruna Brasil is a really good kicker. Her calf kicks are good, her high kicks are dangerous. You look at the head kick she set McCann up with, it looked exactly like the Leon Edwards head kick. Bang, headshot, dead. But guys, you look at Bruna Brasil against Denise Gomes, she got absolutely dusted. You know, the aggression of Gomes, it was just too much for Bruna. Now guys, on the flip side, Shauna Bannon is an undefeated mixed martial artist from Dublin, Ireland. Her Taekwondo kicks are really good. So I think the kicking war between Bruna Brasil and Shauna Bannon is going to be fun to watch. You know, Bruna's going to be throwing Muay Thai kicks, and Shauna's going to be throwing some really nice Taekwondo kicks. The kicks are going to be good. However guys, if you look at Bruna Brasil, she doesn't have like a super high output. You know, at times her output can be quite low. And if Shauna Bannon is throwing like double the amount Bruna's throwing, the fight could be close. So yeah guys, I wouldn't really advise betting on this matchup. But if you had to bet low level women's mixed martial arts, if you really had to do it, take the underdog. My prediction will be Shauna Bannon to remain undefeated. Potentially a very close matchup. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't really advise putting your money on low-level women's mixed martial arts. Alright, moving into a matchup between Chris Duncan taking on Yanal Ashmouz. Now guys, as of right now, my prediction record on Chris Duncan matchups is really bad. Like really bad. I took Chris Duncan to beat Slava. That's a loss. I took Charlie Campbell to beat Duncan. That's a loss. I took Morales to beat Duncan. That's a loss. So hopefully I can predict this Chris Duncan fight correctly, or maybe not. But yeah, looking at the game of Chris Duncan, guys, I would say he possesses more power than speed. You know, his calf kicks are heavy, the hooks are heavy, but not necessarily delivered with a whole lot of speed. He does become quite flat-footed, which kind of results in his striking becoming quite telegraphed. His striking defense isn't great. Both Charlie Campbell and Morales was able to rock him badly, and Slava Claus badly slept him. His ability to recover from getting rocked though, in all fairness, it's good. I'm not sure how he recovers, but he does. Now guys, Chris Duncan did use his wrestling against Omar Morales to secure the win, which is pretty interesting because I doubt he's going to be able to do that against Yanal Ashmouz, seeing as Yanal Ashmouz is a decent wrestler with some good ground and pound. And guys, if you look at Yanal Ashmouz, he's coming off a big knockout win against Sam Patterson in his UFC debut. Now guys, like I said, I'm not really good at picking Chris Duncan matchups. I do think Yanal Ashmouz could use his speed to cause problems for Chris Duncan. I also think he could potentially level change, you know, bring Chris Duncan to the mat, look for some big ground and pound. My prediction will be the slight underdog, Yanal Ashmouz, to win this matchup. Alright, moving into a matchup between Ketlen Vieira taking on Pannie. So guys, as we know, Ketlen Vieira is really powerful. She's a big hitter, power for days. Her technique isn't like the best technique, but the power, you know, the power of the strikes, really damaging. And it's arguably like the standout attribute in her game. She is coming off a very close split decision loss to Rocky, and that fight could have gone either way. Now on the flip side, Pannie is a really decent boxer. She's got good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. However, she's going to be at a strength disadvantage, a power disadvantage. You know, Ketlen may be able to push Pannie against the fence, give her that big sister action, you know, bully her in the clinch, and basically show Pannie that she's stronger, you know, physically stronger. Now guys, a slight concern with Ketlen would be she can fatigue in a matchup. You know, she kind of slows down. We know that physicality is more important than skill in women's mixed martial arts, and the fighter that's going to be physically stronger is going to be Ketlen. So yeah guys, I'm going to side with Ketlen Vieira, the Brazilian, to win this matchup. Her money line at -160 is a little bit too much. Alright, moving into a matchup between Barberena taking on Muradov. It's always a fireworks matchup when Barberena goes to the octagon. He's always looking to scrap. You know, tough as nails, always willing to stand and trade. It doesn't matter who you put in the octagon with Barberena, he's gonna throw down. However guys, Barberena doesn't have good striking defense. His defense is really poor. But like I said, he's willing to stand and trade. He's got a fan-friendly style. It's never boring to watch Barberena fight. However guys, I do believe this is going to be a very winnable matchup for Muradov. And the reason why it's going to be a winnable matchup, Muradov has better defense, better kicks, he's more explosive, and he's able to cover distance quicker than Barberena. I also think if Muradov wanted to get takedowns against Barberena, he probably could, and that's because Barberena's takedown defense is pretty bad. I don't necessarily think Muradov would need to grapple to beat Barberena, but he probably could if he wanted to. It's an option. But yeah guys, my prediction will be Muradov to win this matchup. I know he lost to GM3, and GM3's a UFC veteran. Barberena is also a UFC veteran, but I think he's going to get the win. He should get the win. Muradov has better defense, better kicks, and he's also quicker. In my opinion, it's a pretty tough matchup for Barberena. I know Barberena's really tough, but that's not going to win the matchup. So my pick is going to be Muradov. Alright, moving into a matchup between Parkin taking on Pogues. Now guys, this is going to be low level heavyweight action. Super dangerous to invest money in. It only takes one big connection at heavyweight and the fight's done. Game over. And guys, when you've got two heavyweights that are fairly inexperienced, even more dangerous to bet. Now Parkin only has 6 professional fights. He's trained with Tom Aspinall and Paul Craig. I think Tom Aspinall's dad has even coached Mick with some jiu-jitsu, but he's still new to the game, still learning. His Contender Series matchup did go well. He came into that fight like plus 250, and his opponent got tired after like 2 minutes, which really goes to show just how volatile low-level heavyweight action can be. On the flip side, Jamal Pogues has definitely improved over the last couple years. His jab is a really good weapon, really likes to utilise the jab, and he's also a black belt in BJJ. His jiu-jitsu's good. Now guys, Jamal Pogues debuted against Josh Parisian, which is a pretty easy matchup, and Jamal Pogues kind of fatigued. You know, was able to get takedowns, was able to use the jab. He did win that matchup, but I kind of expected the performance from Jamal Pogues to be a higher level. But like I said, Jamal Pogues did win that matchup. Now guys, this is low level, right? This is a low level matchup. Mick Parkin is very, very green in his MMA career, and Jamal Pogues has improved since his Contender Series fight back in 2019, but still pretty green. You know, both of these guys, they're still learning fight to fight. Now my prediction will be based on who's more experienced, who's got the better jiu-jitsu rank, and also who's displaying the effective use of a jab, because the jab is a very important weapon when it comes to boxing. So my prediction is based off just those things, and all of those things point to Jamal Pogues. So that's going to be my pick. Alright, moving into a matchup between Mark Diakiese taking on Joel Alvarez. Now guys, Joel Alvarez is over 6 foot, cutting weight to 155, which is really crazy when you think about it. He's a weight bully. But then again, Joel Alvarez is going to find it more and more difficult to remain at 155. As we know guys, our metabolism does slow down as we age. You know, it becomes more difficult to lose weight. So weight cutting is difficult. And as you age, it becomes increasingly more difficult. Now guys, Joel Alvarez has excellent jiu-jitsu. He attacks the guillotine really well. And if you shoot a lazy takedown, he will wrap the neck up. You know, his arm bars are good. You've really got to respect the jiu-jitsu of Joel Alvarez. Now guys, Joel Alvarez isn't like the best striker you've ever seen, but his kicks are pretty good. His kicks are fast, and I'd say he's a much better kicker than boxer. However guys, looking at Mark Diakiese, this guy's a really good kicker. Both of these guys are skillful kickers. Now guys, Mark Diakiese does have better wrestling than Joel Alvarez. But does Mark Diakiese want to wrestle with Joel Alvarez? You know, do you really want to rely on the submission defense? Do you want to take it to the ground with Joel Alvarez? You probably don't. Obviously Arman Sarukian didn't care about the grappling of Joel Alvarez, but that's Arman Sarukian, one of the best at 155. Diakiese isn't. But yeah, my prediction will be Joel Alvarez. I think his chances are around 55 to 60%. He's nearly at 70% on the betting line, which in my opinion is too wide. But I am going to side with Joel Alvarez. I just think his submission attacks will be pretty live. And I also think if the matchup stays on the feet, it's a good kicking matchup. Both guys can really kick. So yeah, my prediction will be Joel Alvarez to win this matchup. But looking at the betting line, in my opinion, is too wide. Alright, moving into a matchup between Danny Roberts taking on Johnny Parsons. Now guys, this is going to be boxing versus Muay Thai. Danny Roberts being the southpaw boxer and Johnny Parsons being the Muay Thai striker. Now guys, in my opinion, Muay Thai striking is by far superior to boxing when it comes to mixed martial arts. Muay Thai, as we know, is the art of 8 limbs, right? Kicks, punches, knees, elbows. Whereas the boxer is looking to utilize the jab, looking for hooks, 1-2s, 1-2-3s. The boxer's looking to box, whereas the Thai striker sees more openings for kicks, knees, elbows. So I'd say that Johnny Parsons has the advantage on the feet. You know, his skill set, his striking skill set is better. It offers more damage, you know, more potential for stoppages. However guys, let's say that Danny Roberts keeps his feet moving. You know, doesn't stand directly in front of Johnny Parsons. Doesn't stand directly in front of the Muay Thai fighter. Let's say that Danny Roberts is able to make footwork a priority. You know, mixes in some wrestling. If Danny Roberts does that, he's got a solid chance of winning this matchup. And Danny Roberts isn't a wrestler. You know, he's not a jiu-jitsu player. He's primarily a boxer. But if we're looking at who's more trained in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, the answer is Danny Roberts. But yeah guys, like I said, Danny Roberts has to move his feet. You know, mix in some takedowns. Avoid getting into a war on the feet. Because Danny Roberts has got a dusty chin. If you connect with Danny's chin, he starts wobbling around like a newborn baby giraffe. His chin is dusty. So yeah guys, Danny Roberts needs to move his feet, get takedowns, and essentially avoid the war on the feet. If Danny Roberts can do that, potentially one more win before his UFC career is done. But like I said, he's got a dusty chin. So yeah, my prediction will be Danny Roberts to win this matchup. But obviously it's not a confident prediction. And this is a banger of a matchup. Now we're going to start with dangerous Davy Grant. Now guys, what makes Davy Grant so dangerous is the mixture of attacks. Davy Grant will mix up his attacks so well. And that's what really makes him dangerous. You know, 1 second he's throwing a wheel kick. And then he's covering distance with hooks. Then it's calf kicks. Then it's head kicks, body kicks. It's always a mixture of attacks. And it's really confusing for the opponent. Also guys, looking at Davy Grant, every single strike has 100% power. The wheel kick, 100%. The calf kicks, 100%. Every single strike is 100% power. And that's also what makes dangerous Davy Grant so dangerous. When you throw 100% power into every single strike, especially early in a fight, all of those explosive techniques will always take a big hit on your gas tank. And I was speaking about Davy Grant in my Discord group. And I mentioned that Davy Grant's style is like a blend of Duplessis and Terence McKinney. The Duplessis comparison is in regard to like everything Davy Grant does is 100% power, 100% intent. You don't necessarily know what's coming next, but you do know it's going to be 100% power. And that's what Duplessis does. And the Terence McKinney comparison is in regard to the fact that Davy Grant doesn't warm up. It's 0 to 100 from the first second. However guys, Davy Grant doesn't quit when he gets tired, whereas McKinney quits. Davy Grant will stay there, and even though he's tired, he's still going to throw punches. Now guys, the opponent is Daniel Marcos, who had a really good debut performance against Simon Oliveira. And something I really noticed with Daniel Marcos, his footwork is really good. The speed, the movement is really good. And he can really strike. You know, he's not known like Davy Grant, but his striking is still good, technical, super quick. Guys, in my opinion, Daniel Marcos would win this matchup if he survives round 1. You know, the storm, the first 5 minutes, that's really where Davy Grant is going to be most dangerous. But if Daniel Marcos can survive those first 5 minutes, probably goes on to stop Davy Grant or wins over 15 minutes. Because like I said, Davy Grant is going to slow down. You know, a lot of big explosive movements, and that's going to leave Davy Grant tired. And if you're more tired, it's going to be difficult to find the target. So yeah, my prediction will be Daniel Marcos to win this matchup. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, that's always been a triple amen gang. Let's go. MoneyCity gang, amen gang, smoke break gang, the best of gangs. And you know what guys, there's actually a good amount of people that probably wait to spark up on the smoke breaks. And there's probably a good amount of people who blaze up from the intro to the end. And there's probably a good amount of people that prefer Kool-Aid over smoking. God bless you all. Alright, God bless you all. Guys, last week, every single favourite hit right up into the main event. And of course it had to be women's mixed martial arts, where the first dog cashed. Of course it did. Alright, my goodness. And big shout out to Myra Bueno Silva for cashing a plus 350 inside the distance prop for whoever had it. I know a fair amount of people had that prop. And my goodness, did she deliver a nasty, dangerous performance. The submission attack, the neck attack to finish the fight, it's good work. It kinda made you think back to when Ketlen Vieira had the neck of Holly Holm against the fence, but didn't get a tap. This time round though, you see the tap. Great work from Myra. Alright guys, let's jump into the main card. Let's go. Alright, moving into a matchup between Lerone Murphy taking on Josh Culibao, and my goodness, what a matchup this is. Lerone Murphy's got really good boxing. His technique is good, his power's good, the low kicks are damaging, and Lerone Murphy's shown to be a really good striker. But on the flip side guys, I could say the same thing about Josh Culibao. You know, Culibao is super fast with the boxing. Hands are really sharp, tough as nails, and his jiu-jitsu is sneaky good. He's coming off a big win over Melsik Bagdasaryan, where he was losing that fight, but managed to jump on the back of Melsik as Melsik fell to the mat. And once Josh got the back, you essentially saw a massive difference in the level of jiu-jitsu. Now guys, this matchup is super difficult to predict. Lerone Murphy arguably has the power advantage, but Culibao gets better as the fight goes. You know, his round 1 is okay, but round 2 is usually better for Josh Culibao. He's not the most talented you've ever seen, but the dude is a hard worker. And that's really what you need the most when it comes to mixed martial arts. Obviously, being born with natural talent and natural born skill is good. Obviously that's good, but hard work is more important in a sport like mixed martial arts. Now guys, my prediction's probably going to be a biased prediction. I do want Lerone Murphy to win. I do think he's good enough to win, and I hope he wins. So I'm going to be siding with Lerone Murphy to win this matchup, but it's not an easy matchup. You know, it's a very difficult matchup. Josh Culibao's no walk in the park. He's tough. He's quick. His boxing's good. Don't miss this matchup. It's going to be a good fight. But yeah, my prediction will be Lerone Murphy. Arguably a biased prediction, but he's good. You know, powerful, good boxing, good kicks. Like I said, it's going to be one of those fights you don't want to miss. Alright, moving into a matchup between Herbert taking on Ziam. Now guys, Ziam is young, right? He's still getting better, still evolving fight to fight. His calf kicks are nasty quick, whereas Herbert is more about boxing than kicking. It's going to be the boxing output of Herbert versus the kicking of Ziam. The boxer wants to get past the kicks, you know, get into boxing range, start to find a home for the boxing combinations. The thing is though guys, like I said, Ziam is still getting better, he's still evolving, whereas Herbert is on the wrong side of 35. His UFC career hasn't really gone well, and if I'm being honest, I don't really expect Herbert to be getting any better. Obviously, fighting at the highest level is extremely difficult, and this is why I mentioned in my last breakdown, the hard work that these fighters put in is extremely important, because if you're fighting at the highest level, you don't have time to not put the work in. And you kind of see that with Jalen Turner and Dan Hooker, where Jalen Turner arguably was more skillful than Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker was just waiting, you know, just waiting to see. Is Jalen Turner going to fatigue? Is he going to slow down? And this is what you train for. You know, you train to be the best you can be on fight night. And like I said, I don't really expect Herbert to be getting any better. You know, the wrong side of 35. I do expect Ziam to be getting better. And I'm going to have to side with Ziam to keep Herbert at the end of the kicks. Showcase good speed, good technique, and if Herbert can win this matchup, it would be pretty impressive. But I'm going to side with Ziam. He's a good kickboxer, specifically a better kicker, and that's why I'm going to side with Ziam. Alright, moving into a matchup between Andre Muniz taking on Paul Craig. Now guys, this is going to be Jiu-Jitsu versus Jiu-Jitsu. Andre Muniz is a super high level black belt, and so is Paul Craig. You've got two really world class Jiu-Jitsu players. So what's going to happen with this matchup? You would kind of expect to see some grappling, but I'm going to predict that Andre Muniz and Paul Craig both go in kickbox. Now obviously neither of them are good strikers. You know, they've dedicated a large portion of their life to Jiu-Jitsu. They haven't dedicated a lot of time to striking. However guys, if this matchup does stay on the feet, you really have to predict who's going to be more composed and better in the striking. Like I said, Paul Craig and Muniz are both grapplers. They're not strikers. But if I had to pick who wins the stand-up fight, there's no way that I'm picking Paul Craig. It should be illegal to watch Paul Craig strike. His striking is really bad, and he doesn't like getting hit. Now guys, Muniz doesn't exactly have good striking, but I do think he's better than Paul Craig. Paul Craig would be more likely to pull guard, but Muniz has excellent jiu-jitsu. And I know Brendan Allen was able to submit Muniz, but Brendan Allen didn't submit Muniz because Allen is a better jiu-jitsu player. If you go rewatch that fight, you'll notice that Allen does submit Muniz, but he submits Muniz because Muniz is extremely tired. And as we know guys, fatigue will make a coward out of anyone. Now guys, I don't think Paul Craig can fatigue Muniz the same way Allen did by offering Muniz a good amount of resistance. I can't see Paul Craig offering the same level of adversity. So for me, I'm going to side with the Brazilian, Andre Muniz, to win this matchup. Essentially, I don't think Paul Craig can do enough on the feet to fatigue Muniz. And if Paul Craig is going to pull guard, he's pulling guard against a really good jiu-jitsu player. So really it's a matchup where they're both jiu-jitsu players. But outside of the jiu-jitsu, I believe Muniz is better. And that's why I'm going to side with Andre Muniz. Alright guys, moving into a matchup between Nathaniel Wood taking on Andre Fili. This is going to be a banger. Another banger on this UFC London card. Guys, the UFC London cards are always crazy good. And this matchup will absolutely play a part in this London card being crazy good. Nathaniel Wood is extremely well rounded. His boxing is high level, his calf kicks are super good, his wrestling is solid, his jiu-jitsu is solid, he's tough, his cardio's good, his footwork and speed is really good. Nathaniel Wood is really difficult to fight against. Now guys, the opponent is Andre Fili, a very slick kickboxer, but arguably a much better kicker than what he is a boxer. Nathaniel Wood has multiple advantages in this matchup, in my opinion. The boxing, the speed, precision, wrestling, cardio, jiu-jitsu. All of those things, in my opinion, go to Nathaniel Wood. However guys, there is one thing that Fili could do to win this matchup, or maybe a couple things. Remember for UFC 290 we spoke about Yair Rodriguez having the advantage when it comes to kicking. If you've got that advantage, you've got to use it and try to maintain it. You know, maintain that kicking distance and fire the kicks. If Fili can just keep Nathaniel Wood at the end of his kicks, he's going to look like a really, really good underdog play. And Andre Fili's got the high end reach, you know, so look for him to be firing kicks early in this matchup. It's going to be for Nathaniel Wood to dictate what he wants to do, whether that's wrestling or boxing in the pocket, maybe play some jiu-jitsu, land his own calf kicks. But yeah guys, I'm going to side with who I believe is more well-rounded and who's got more paths to victory, more advantages, and that's going to be Nathaniel Wood. That's my pick. Alright, moving into the co-main event, we've got Molly McCann taking on Julia Stoliarenko. Now guys, I'm not going to spend too much time on this matchup. I think it's a showcase fight for Molly McCann. Julia Stoliarenko has 6 UFC fights and only won one of those 6 UFC fights. So after she loses to Molly McCann, she probably will be removed from the UFC roster. And rightfully so, because Stoliarenko has one trick and one trick only, and that's the armbar. Her armbar is really good. But outside of the armbar, she's got poor defense, super hittable, slows down, doesn't really offer much outside of the armbar. Whereas Molly McCann has better boxing, better decision making, more tricks in her game. It's a layup. You know, Molly McCann shall win this co-main event. And I'll say this, if she does lose to Stoliarenko, in my opinion, she should be cut. Because Stoliarenko's really bad and everyone should dust her. And I think Molly McCann probably does. Probably should. So yeah, give me Molly McCann to dust Julia Stoliarenko. Alright, moving into the main event, we've got a fight between heavyweight prospect Tom Aspinall versus heavyweight UFC veteran Marcin Tybura. Now guys, Tom Aspinall is coming off a nasty knee injury. Essentially went to snap city on his knee joint. Anytime you snap the knee joint, I see it as a massive red flag. However guys, looking at the skill of Tom Aspinall compared to Marcin Tybura, both of these guys are black belts in jiu-jitsu. But in my opinion, Tom Aspinall has better jiu-jitsu. His ground game is more dangerous, it's more damaging. Now guys, when you look at the striking of Tom Aspinall, massively impressed. Like really impressive. His agility is super good. He moves really well for a heavyweight. His boxing is technical, it's dangerous, it's quick. His Muay Thai kicks are also really good. He's kinda like the English version of Cyril Gane, but more of an emphasis on boxing than kicking. You know, Cyril Gane is really good at switching stances and firing kicks. Tom Aspinall can throw some nasty Muay Thai kicks, just like Gane. But Tom Aspinall really likes to sit down on his punches, you know, look to use his boxing a little bit more than Cyril Gane. Now guys, Marcin Tybura does have the experience. But in my opinion, round 1, round 2, he's going to get badly beaten up. If Tybura can still beat her after 10 minutes, then maybe it gets interesting. But as far as I'm concerned, for 10 minutes, Tom Aspinall is going to absolutely dust Marcin Tybura. And to be honest guys, I do think Marcin Tybura probably gets stopped. You know, those 10 minutes are going to be difficult. If he can still beat her after 10, then all the credit. But I think Tom Aspinall would find a stoppage either round 1 or round 2. And that's mainly because he's quicker. His Muay Thai kicks are really good. His boxing is lethal. And Tybura can't use his grappling because Tom Aspinall also has really good grappling. So yeah, I think round 1 or round 2 it's going to be a stoppage for Tom Aspinall. That's my pick. As always, guys, drop down your main event prediction, co-main event, underdog prediction, straight bets, 2-fight parlays, MoneyCity bets. Smack the comment section with all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy this London UFC card. After all the tape I've watched, I can confidently say this card is going to be very, very good. As always, guys, eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Peace.